Hi guys! For today's video we are in the kitchen because today we are going to be making some spaghetti sauce. For this spaghetti sauce we are going to be needing the following ingredients. I personally really like to add a lot of vegetables. Now all of these fresh vegetables are technically optional, but it is a very easy way to hide some vegetables into your food. So I choose to add 3 bell peppers, 2 zucchinis. There's only one here, but I've got one in the fridge still. Some carrots, and then I have some fresh tomatoes that have to be used up, so I'm going to throw them in there. Now this sauce is a very easy way to hide some vegetables into your food because we are going to be mixing the sauce at the end, but it's also a very good way to use up some of the vegetables in your fridge that have to be used up. So for example, this zucchini, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. I'm going to turn, yeah, you see it's got a bad spot, but for this recipe that's totally fine. You just cut it off and you can use the rest of the zucchini. Same for my tomatoes, they're a little bit wrinkly, no problem whatsoever. And then these are the rest of the ingredients. These are the ones you will always need. So the fresh veggies are optional, but you will always need passata. Now this is the one just from the store. This is one that my mom made with some fresh tomatoes from last year's garden. The only thing with this passata is that it's a little bit watery, so I will have to cook it down enough. And it will come down to be about the same amount of passata as I have here, so it will cook down to about this much. I use 3 onions. You can use 2, you can use 4, it's a little bit how you like it. Same for the garlic. I use 2 cloves of fresh garlic. You can use none, you can also use 5 or 6, it's however you like it. And then I have 1 kilogram of ground pork. Now keep in mind that these ingredients, this amount of ingredients, will make a lot of spaghetti sauce. I think we are a family of 4 adults. It's me, my older brother, and then our parents. I think we can eat 3 to 4 times from this sauce. So we have 3 to 4 meals for 4 adults with this. So just keep that in mind. It makes a lot of sauce. If you don't need this much, maybe take only a quarter of the recipe or whatever. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and thaw my passata, because this is frozen, as you can see. I already thawed my meat, but so I will go ahead and put this in the microwave. Let's say it's about half a kilo, something like that, almost 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my vegetables. Now, as for these vegetables, it's important you always start with your onions. You cut them up and then you start to cook them on the stove. If you don't cook these first and you start, for example, with your carrots, you will always have a little bit of the raw onion taste in your sauce. So it's important that you cook these down first until they're translucent, and then you can add the other ingredients. Now, as I said in the beginning, I personally will be mixing my sauce at the end. So I will use a immersion blender. So I will be blending the sauce at the end of the whole cooking process, which means that I can go ahead and cut my vegetables a little bit bigger, in bigger pieces. If you choose to not mix your sauce, then it's important that you chop your vegetables into smaller pieces, because it's not very nice if you're eating the sauce and you have like huge chunks of vegetables in your mouth. So yeah, that's just something you have to keep in mind. If you are going to blend it or not, you will need to chop them smaller as necessary. I went ahead and I chopped all of my vegetables in one go with this as the result. So I have my onions and my garlic in my pot with some olive oil. Then I chop my carrots in rather small pieces just so that they cook faster. But then all the other vegetables are in large chunks, as you can see. Peppers, zucchini, and then this is some zucchini that I saved from my garden last year because our zucchini plants were so abundant. The harvest was so abundant that we had way too many zucchinis, so I froze a bunch of these bags, and this is the last of it. So I'm just gonna throw that along in the sauce. I do always, for my sauce, peel my zucchinis, because otherwise your sauce is full of these, yeah, if you mix this, the green stuff, your sauce is full of green specks and it doesn't look very nice. So it's mainly for the look of the sauce. Besides that, there's not really a purpose for it. So I am now gonna go ahead and put my onions on the fire, make sure that they are all translucent and cooked through. Then I'm going to add my carrots. Once they are almost fully cooked through, I will add my frozen zucchini, because this is frozen. And then after that, I will add the peppers and all the other vegetables in one go. I will let that steam in the pot a little bit, because this is going to give some water, which will make the vegetables steam. I will let it steam for a few minutes, and then I'm adding my passata. And then I basically just let that boil, like simmer, for, I want to say, approximately an hour, half an hour, sorry, until everything is nice and soft. And then once everything is fully cooked through and soft, I blend it, I immersion blend it. If you blend it too fast, then you get chunks, and then it's not a smooth sauce. By the way, the reason I add the zucchini is also to make the sauce more creamy. This really makes your sauce very nice and creamy. So, and then one more thing that I will add probably before I add my passata is my spice blend. And this is the one I use. It's just a spaghetti spice blend. Sometimes I add some separate spices because this one can get quite spicy. There's some chili in there. Can get a little bit spicy. If you like spice, I would say fully use this. I sometimes add a little bit less of this and then just take a few of the ingredients that's in this blend and just add those separately. But yeah, mainly this is the main spice that I use for the whole sauce. The only other thing that I do is I spice my meat. I add salt and pepper to my meat. That's everything. But so this is the main thing that will give the flavor of the sauce. This is what you're looking for. So you want the onions to be nice and translucent. Now, yeah, the steam is getting on the camera. But as you can see, nice and translucent, a little bit brown, but mainly the translucent part is what you're looking for. So once your onions look like this, you can go ahead and add your carrots. Like that, you want to add them. You don't want to have your fire on the highest setting, because then you're going to burn your carrots, but you do want to have it high enough so that they actually get cooked a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to leave these for a few minutes until they're starting to get soft, and once they start to get soft, I'm adding the rest of the veggies. I just added all of the other veggies, and now I'm gonna go ahead and put a first load of spices on there. Now keep in mind, this is a very big batch of sauce, so you're going to need quite a bit of spices. I'm gonna mix this under, and then I'm going to let it simmer for quite a while. You want it to look something like this after you add the spices. You really want the veggies to be well coated in the spices so that all the flavors get a good chance to really melt into the vegetables. Now I'm going to lower my fire to 6, and then I'm going to add the lid. This is a pressure pot. Sorry. This just makes the process go a little faster. It makes the veggies cook a bit faster. So I'm gonna leave it for about 5 minutes like this. Then I will add the passata, and then I will let it cook for another 20 minutes probably. I transferred the sauce to a slightly bigger pot so that I can add my meat to it later. I just put my meat into a cold pan. I did not add any oil to this because I'm adding it to a cold pan, and it's ground pork, which is very fat meat. The heating up of the pan will render out the fat, and then you don't need any additional oil. So what I'm going to do now is just slightly salt and pepper this, and then once that's cooked, I actually found some ground beef in the freezer still. I will add the ground beef to this, then I will immersion blend the sauce, and then I will add the meat to the sauce. You do not want to add the meat before you blend it, because otherwise you're going to get meat mush, and you don't want that. My meat is mostly cooked through. I don't cook it like all the way through, because it's still gonna go in the sauce and then it will cook a little further. So to avoid it getting dry, I leave it like mostly cooked, but there are some red pieces at the end, as you see. Now my sauce has been boiling for long enough. My vegetables are nice and soft, so now I'm gonna go ahead and take my blender, and I'm just going to blend this whole thing up. When you're finished, your sauce should look something like this. Now, because I prefer my sauce to be slightly thicker than this, I'm going to let this boil for maybe 5 more minutes, just to let some of the water evaporate. And then I'm gonna give this sauce without the meat a taste test, see if I like it. And if I do, I will add my meat, taste it again. Now, one optional step that you can also take is to add some sugar or sweetener to this. I add this, usually it's just sucralose liquid sweetener, table sweetener, just to kind of contrast the acidity of the tomatoes. But that's totally optional. It's up to you whether you like that or not. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a taste test, and I'm going to see if it needs any additional spices. It usually does. Yeah. All right. This needs salt. It's already a little spicy, so I'm not actually going to add any additional spice to it. So what I then do is I will actually, there we go. I will go ahead and look at the ingredients. So it says onion, salt, paprika, garlic powder, oregano, and black pepper. So I'm gonna look in my spice drawer and see if we have any of that. Now I think we have some paprika, but let's see. see if I can find it. Ginger, maybe here? Yeah, paprika, but I think this might contain chili as well. Nope, it doesn't say. So let's add some of that. What else was in there? Onion powder we don't have. Salt I already added. Garlic powder we do not have. Oregano. Let's see. Thyme, rosemary, basil. No, we're not going to add more spice. It's spicy enough here. Oregano, good. And then black pepper I'm also not going to add. So I'm just gonna add some paprika and oregano, as well as the salt I already added, and then we'll try it again. Let's see. I'm gonna mix it, let the flavors melt in a little bit. Then I will taste it again, see if it needs any additional spices. And basically I just go that way. I keep trying it over and over until I'm happy with the flavor, and then we're good to go. This is really the nice thing about this recipe, is that you can't do very many things wrong. Yeah. I like it. Maybe going to add just a little bit of sweetener and salt, and then we're gonna be good. Now be careful with the sweetener, because we obviously do not want this to be sweet. You just want to take out the acidity of the tomatoes a little bit, but we're not making sweet spaghetti sauce. So yeah, after that I'm adding my meat, and then we should be good to go. And then I have some dishes to do, but I always try to do my dishes as I go. So while this was simmering, I already took care of some of the dishes. That way you're not left with a huge pile of dishes at the end, which is quite nice. All right, let's try this one last time. I'm hoping that it will be good now. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And that's as easy as this is. Of course, you can make this a meatless sauce. Then you would just not add any of the meat. You would just leave it like this. Which could be fine as well, but I live in a household with 2 men who like their meat. So I'm gonna be adding this. And as I already mentioned, I also added a tiny bit of ground beef as well that I found in the freezer that had to be used up. This is really the perfect recipe to just use up a bunch of the things that need to be used up. Meats, vegetables, tomato products, whatever you have that needs to be used up. It really works well. So let me add the meat right here. This is what the finished product looks like. I don't know if you can see it, but it's still steaming. It's very hot still. It is right now 4 p.m. So it's gonna be like probably around about 3 hours until we eat, maybe 4 hours. So I'm just going to put a lid on this pot. I will take out the spatula later, and just leave it on the stove like this. It can cool down a bit, and then by the time we eat, it will be cold enough to put the majority of this sauce into some containers that go in the freezer, and then we can just as well take out what we're going to eat today. But so yeah, with that I am going to end today's video. I hope you liked it, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye guys!